sweet dear magical friends. Welcome to your weekly horoscope and taroscope with me, Natalie, spelled Natalee, as we open up the energies of your week ahead using Western astrological interpretation and the tarot. I'm calling this week Risk v Reward because emotionally there are going to be some highs and lows. We're building towards a full moon in Sagittarius at the end of the week. The astrology this week is definitely more later heavy, like bottom heavy, like end of the week, like Wednesday onward is really when the volume gets turned up. So risk is going to feel like an emotionally driven thing. Rewards are going to feel like an emotionally driven thing, and the pressure will come out through action. That's the thing, is that, you know, as long as you're taking like a very calculated risk, and this is something that not only you've maybe been thinking about or wondering about or doing your research on, but it's also something that even if it doesn't work out, that you're still okay with the outcome, that you still feel good about it. Okay? Let's see if we can hold on to that thought. Monday, the 29th of May, I'm calling it affirmative. That's because we have the moon in the sign of Libra applying to a trine, well, past it by now, but trining Pluto in Aquarius retrograde. Now, this we're not going to have the rest of the year. Once Pluto retrogrades back into the sign of Capricorn, the Libra moon is going to square that. Okay, it's going to be a thing. So take this Monday and, you know, sort of run with it, because this is helping you build connections, like deeper connections with allies, maybe meeting new people that can be allies. The circumstances are producing some very beneficial connections to either make new connections or deepen, you know, existing connections with your acquaintances. So it's very simpatico Monday, feeling good on Monday. So on Tuesday, the 30th of May, I'm calling it so embarrassing because that same Libra moon is going to oppose Chiron in Aries, and it's embarrassing. It's just going to be embarrassing. It's going to be relationships and individualism, and they're sort of going to trigger each other. So whether you are wonderful in relationships, you feel more confident when you have a partner, when you are allied with someone strong to give you strength, you may feel insecure about that. Or if you have to do something on your own, or you have to initiate something new, or you have to do something alone, you'll feel insecure about that. And on the flip side, for the other half of people that are more comfortable doing things on their own, more comfortable being responsible for everything and kind of shouldering all of the pressure, like just counting on themselves, you may feel insecure about that, like a wavering insecurity. And you may be in a position where you have to work with other people, you have to be diplomatic, you have to consider the other side, and that could bring up the embarrassment or the insecurity of, oh my God, I can't do this well, or I'm not doing this right, or I don't know how to work on the group project, or I don't know what I can contribute, or, you know, whatever it happens to be. So that's the opposition. You're going to feel the tug one way or another. And it'll be like, the Chiron stuff is just so cringy. So just embrace the cringe. On Tuesday, it's going to pass. Let's move on. Wednesday, the 31st of May, I'm calling it Vroom Vroom because Mercury leaves shadow, and that's great. I just don't relax until Mercury's fully out of that sign that it goes retrograde, or, you know, stations, does all the things in. But it's still significant that Mercury leaves the shadow period. So actually this Mercury in Taurus is the best energy of the week to help us not go like super overboard. It's going to help you think a little bit slower and more methodical. I'm trying to say methodological. So I already have a lisp. I don't need to add a stutter to it. Leaves shadow, thinking smarter, slower, deliberate thinking. There will still be more reveals and more jump scares. We still have the conjunction to Uranus, the trine to Pluto before Mercury will actually leave the sign of Taurus and enter Gemini. So we're not quite out of the woods yet. So there may be something significant that comes to light on Wednesday, because we have now technically surpassed energetically, you know, like the degree of what we're meant to go back and reassess. So from that point forward, from Wednesday forward, we're thinking and speaking and plotting and planning and scheming with new information, with the benefit of that rethinking. Now, it's vroom vroom also because the moon in Scorpio will cross the south node in Scorpio. And that will trigger this. You can even see it on the right over here. It'll trigger this big configuration that is going to reignite the drama of the last half of May, okay, for change. So, you know, it's going to set it off again. So everything from when we had Jupiter entering into the sign of Taurus, Mars entering the sign of Leo, you know what I'm saying? It's like it gets another pop of it. But it's a flush. You know, it's a purging out. So anything gross, bad, toxic, shameful, guilting, any paranoia, whatever it is, whatever comes up, it's only coming up to go out. So don't take it super, like, you're ready to move forward because you're building new energy structures mentally, mental energy structures. But it's like you may even realize very clearly, like, oh wow, I need to get rid of this. I can't go on living like this, or feeling this way, or thinking this way about this person, or, you know, your relationship, or the situation, or whatever Scorpio is for you in your chart. So it's bringing up strong feelings, to say the least. It's bringing up very strong feelings. And if you're ever, if this kind of blows up, if you start to blow up your spot as early as Wednesday, before even the full moon gets here, it would be because you are really identifying and engaging with that south node in Scorpio. You are resisting, you're trying to hold on, you're trying to you know, maneuver outcomes. You're feeling jealous, you're feeling bitter, you're feeling surly, and you know, all like that. So really see what the triggers are, see what comes up for you on Wednesday, and ask yourself, is your ego invested into this? That's what I do. I go in the reverse. I start with something like bad that I don't want in my life, and I ask myself, like, you know, whether it's something recurring or whether it's something that just blows up, I'm asking myself, like, could my ego be somehow responsible for this horrible thing, this thing that I don't want? Is there something I need to alchemize? Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no. When the answer is yes, then I know how to alchemize. I know what to do. I have the tools. I know the energy work to do. I can go off on you can do a whole webinar on that. But, you know, Wednesday would be a really great day to ask yourself that, because that Scorpio South Node, the Scorpio Moon circumstances are really connecting you with maybe a part of your ego that's toxic. You know, you need a healthy functioning ego to live life so that people don't take advantage of you, you know. So it's when you go beyond that, there's one thing of having like the Nine of Wands in the tarot. You have great boundaries, you live to die another day. But when you get paranoid about it, or when you get too like trying to control things because you're traumatized by maybe some fast change that happened in your life, then they grow into defenses, like defense mechanisms, and it's not what we want. So ask yourself, if you are applying the, you know, putting the pedal to the metal that's ego driven, your ego's, the toxic ego's in the driver's seat, or is it out of love? You can't have both. You cannot have ego and love in the same space at the same time. So that's why I'm calling this week risk v reward, because if I can see people's egos driving this week and maybe taking action that they will reproach themselves for later. And so I'm going to try to help you with that. Thursday, the 1st of June, I'm calling this day complicated feelings. Look at that chart. Oh my God. Okay, so complicated feelings. We have Jupiter conjoining the North Node in Taurus. This is the best you're going to get. And even leading up to Thursday, this entire week has that beautiful energy, magical, sprinkly dust all over it. That's going to be incredibly lucky. That's going to be incredibly lucky. A wild opportunity. Something just takes you by storm. You're really creative. You're so in love. You got the green thumb, things are growing, it's a lot. Anything conjoining that north node is going to be a nice big like increase, but it's Jupiter, so it's going to give you, even Jupiter and Taurus, any work that you put in, you're going to get double back. You're going to get more in return. There's just some other things in the astrology that could be sort of warping people's focuses. And, for instance, this Venus in Cancer is going to Venus in Cancer, be a little bit wary with Cancer and stuff, Cancer placements, because it's just it needs like a very mature driver. Cancer stuff needs a very mature driver. Otherwise, it's going to drive itself to kind of like the Scorpio stuff, but from a different motivation. It's about like protecting, holding on, and it's like, so complicated feelings. That Jupiter North Node is the best. There's going to be something that you see or that you feel, that that is so confident. It's filling you with such confidence. It's filling you with such complementary, beneficial, worthy, valuable energy wherever the Taurus area is in your life. And so you're not going to miss out on that. You're going to get it. You're going to feel very encouraged, you're going to feel very enthused, and it's going to be amazing. And there could even be some physical manifestations coming in for you guys on Thursday. I'm calling Thursday complicated feelings because that moon is still in Scorpio, and they're going to perfect in their square to Mars. They're going to oppose Uranus in Taurus, and then they're going to trine that Venus-Neptune conjunction. That is, Venus-Neptune trine. They're going to trine Venus and Neptune. Venus in Cancer, Neptune in Pisces. So as that is happening, that could amplify the feelings of like a dark fantasy of like a threat that's not there. Like, oh my God, I have to protect this, and I have to, I have to do all of this. And like the Neptune can make you see, this is like, okay, as an example, maybe you're like over obsessing about like a neighbor, and just always thinking like, oh my God, they're doing this and they're doing that. Like this Venus, Neptune, Scorpio super trine here could just encourage more of that. Like Venus in Cancer is going to be like, let me just lock it down and over control my lawn and the lines and like all the things. Or oh my God, Neptune is going to apply the delusion or whatever. Then the moon in Scorpio is going to be untrusting of the circumstances and the situation and just perceive more that's under the surface, or believe that they are, with that trine. So it could be, like I said, it could just be very complicated. The moon squaring Mars, I feel like people could feel very confused as to what to do, or they could feel inspired to do something that's sort of misguided, that may not be very appropriate to the situation, or they may not be seeing things clearly. The opposition to Mercury on Thursday with the moon, that could be unsettling information or unsettling conversation, and that could tip everyone's inner compasses off a little bit. And that's why I'm saying like this can be where you've got a great head on your shoulders and you're ready to take action on something and get huge epic rewards, or it could be like delusion land and people are feeling like they're ready to, I don't want to say pull the trigger, but they're ready to press the button on something that, we're making our way to the Sagittarius full moon, and Sagittarius energy can be very grandiose. It could be very righteous. It could overpromise. It could talk its way in and out of things. It could exaggerate, all of those types of things. So, people will feel, and it's a fire sign. So, at the worst, the worst lowest common denominator, people will feel ready to, you know, well, fine, I'll just leave. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, they could be ready to do something like very, I don't know, maybe even out of character or erratic or like something. So we'll get to that. We're still on Thursday, complicated feelings. The other redeeming quality about Thursday is that the moon in Scorpio will trine over to Saturn in Pisces. So I feel like there's a chance for you to know deep in your gut the ethical thing, the right thing to do. And that's a really big thing about this week, that even the people that are taking the misaligned action, taking the wrong action, they will still be very convicted and feel like they're doing the right thing. So this is going to be like, well, my truth is this, and this is the other person. Like, my truth is this, and they both like have their own truths, you know. And it's agree to disagree is what I would say. I would not get into any kind of arguments, especially philosophical arguments or should type of arguments. Sagittarius is like, should, you should do this or you should do that kind of energy. And with the full moon in Sagittarius, it could be very over the top. It could be over the top optimistic and lovable and absolutely fun and fun loving and light and like live and let live. Or it can be the other Sagittarius energy where it's just like, on Thursday, we're still in complicated feelings. There could be, if you're mature, if you lean into the maturity of this Saturn trine, you could know, like, dang, I have to let this go. This is the wrong thing, or this is the wrong action, wrong behavior, wrong situation, and I have to like change. I have to do something about it. You could really feel like in your gut, you know what that is, and you know what to like remove. So it's a pretty complicated day on Thursday. So I'm going to say meditate. But yeah, the best that we've got is that North Node Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. That's the absolute best. Lean into that energy. It's like the new, the new and the great, and it's like coming into your life. It's really the whole week, like leading up to Thursday, but Thursday it goes exact, and it'll feel good. Like, this is something that will feel very positive. It'll feel very good. You would have to have really, really been resisting the lessons of the last couple years. And when we resist learning lessons, they get more painful. Lessons get more and more painful. You run into the same pain over and over again, and it gets even more painful until we learn. Now, people, of course, it's not like everyone learns. People can walk around like a victim and continue to attract that experience into their reality. They can go boo-hoo, my parents hated me growing up, and everybody hates me, and blah, 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 blah. And they go and keep attracting that into their reality. Maybe they attract some empathetic people that try to help them, but then they get into this victim savior cycle where whoever does help them, help the victim, they have to stay the victim. They don't really want to not be the victim. So then they turn that helper, that empathetic person, into the persecutor, because they need a persecutor. Of every victim needs a persecutor. And now the person that was trying to help them is now the bad guy, now being blamed for something, now is the reason why something else is going wrong in that victim's life. And that blows up. And then they feel sorry for themselves about the whole thing. And then they keep going through life and get into different towns and jobs and situations. They meet more people, and maybe other empathetic people are like, hey, let me help that person now. They're just down on their luck. And then the same thing's going to happen. That helper is going to become the perpetrator. And it's going to, the whole thing happens all over again. And so, wow, we really ran off on that one. So Thursday's complicated feelings. I feel like you'll know what you need to do from like the middle of the week to the end of the week. And then maybe over the weekend is when people like take action or do the things that they need to do, as hard as it may be. And what I'll say is this: if you have any fears, especially if they are fears of lack or abandonment or going without or financial resources, in doing the right thing, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Don't worry about how much it will financially cost you. Don't worry about people coming and going and being there or not being there. Don't worry about anything. This is such a week for morality. and doing what you feel in your gut is the right thing to do. And that is so important. That is so important. That's like the most important thing. It's just that we're going to have loopiness where people are going to, this is why the joke that I say, like, don't, you know, go into the post office and do something bad because Madam President told you to do that, you know, like, it's like, we're going to have people that are like feeling like they know this is their truth and they're doing the right thing, but it's really like the way wrong thing, you know. So that's why it's called risk v reward this week. So Thursday is very, very complicated feelings. The Jupiter North Node should bring some kind of resource, an abundance of confidence, something like that. And that's what you want to lean into. So I'm hoping that for you guys, it shows very clearly what is helping you feel better about yourself and what is clearly keeping you in a state of fear or anxiety or stress, or like never knowing where you stand with someone, or financially scared and insecure, like anything that keeps you in those lower vibrations, very, very detrimental to you. So hopefully you are able to take that Jupiter North Node conjunction. And this is sort of similar energy to the end of summer 2022 when we had that epic conjunction. And so, you know, you might have a little bit of that, like that newness, that greatness, that, you know, some asset coming in or an investment doing very well or something just sort of blossoming. It was very notable. That's why I bring it up, that marker in time. Okay, so that's Thursday. Friday, I am calling this day Strong Beliefs on the 2nd of June because we have that Venus perfecting in that trine to Neptune in Pisces, that Scorpio moon. God, we're still in a Scorpio moon. Yeah, the moon's going to go from Libra to Sagittarius this week. So moon is still in Scorpio, opposing Uranus and Taurus, and then making the trine over to Venus in Cancer and Neptune in Pisces. So this Venus trine Neptune, that's going to either encourage the love, the empathy, or it's going to encourage that feeling of like, I need to protect this. I need to, like, the way Cancer protects is like mama bear, like it really clamps down and it justifies absolutely anything. That's why, like, people, I know people will say like, oh, Cancer, like, let's bake you some cookies and tuck you in at night and, like, you know, cry at every movie kind of energy. But really, Cancer is like very tenacious, and like I'm telling you, these water signs will justify any kind of cruelty or any kind of anything to protect, you know what I'm saying? So like, so people could feel that so much is at stake with the Neptune in Pisces. They're going to be reactive from that place of lack, fear, abandonment, not enough, scarcity mindset, whatever. Or people will be feeling very spiritual, very creative, very self-expressive, very emotive, very much like sharing. So if you're feeling this week like you want to share, you're doing it right, because you share when you have confidence that more comes in. You're generous with your ideas, with your words, with your all of your stuff. You're generous. I'm not worried about running out, you know, because I'll be fine, you know. When you're the opposite of that, this week you may be seeing people that are more like clamping down, and they're operating from the scarcity mindset. They're gonna like this person more than they like me. I'm gonna run out of money. They're gonna whatever. That is how you use the energy. Take responsibility for your own energy. Always. So when I say that, when I talk about astrology, is okay, use it this way, channel it this way. I'm empowering you to feel like you can change your life, that you can have an effect on the material world, on your material reality. Everything that we do here, the 𝚑𝚊𝚗𝚕𝚎, everything that I do with my hierophants and high priestesses, it's all about passion, sharing the passion and practicing energetic self-mastery. The whole point of it is to create your own heaven on earth. The way I approach astrology is from the perspective of, how am I going to use this? It's not, what circle of hell am I walking into this week? Sometimes it feels like that. So when I say, you know, what can we expect? Sometimes it is like fate is bringing something to you. Sometimes it's our karma. It's bringing something to us. Look at how things are happening in your natal chart. But generally speaking, I don't want anyone to ever feel disempowered or victimized in any way by astrology. So I guess I just had to say that. Okay, so still on Friday, strong beliefs. The moon in Scorpio opposes Uranus and Taurus. That's breaking the chains. That's like, the more you try to clamp down on something, it's going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle even more, and it's going to really break free. So, you know, I would just hands off. Like, I would just let everything just kind of play out, and you just care about cleaning your side of the street and protecting your boundaries, and just worry about controlling your responses, your energy, yourself, because that's going to be an unpredictable thing. That's going to be something unpredictable. It is trying to break you out of the chains, though. It is trying to break you free of something, even if that's a toxic mindset, or if it could even be something very insidious and subtle, such as like, I want to change their mind about this. Even if it's something stupid, like, I don't know, some turtle food that's better than another brand of turtle food, and you're going to argue with someone about it, like, it doesn't matter. It's like, just break out of it. So that's what that's going to be. Now that moon is going to, like I said, trine over to Venus, trine over to Neptune. I feel like the circumstances are going to keep bringing you things throughout your day to make you mentally, like, probing something mentally and trying to figure something out. This is very encouraging of fantasy and creativity and artistic expression. Also, if this is a higher vibration of Scorpio, this could be so healing. Scorpio is a healing sign. It's a healing, powerful energy. So, for a very small percentage, this can be very healing, and it could have some kind of resurgence or reintroduction of a karmic person or a karmic past life thing that is beneficial to you now because it's coming through. Gosh, that was a long Friday. Welcome to Saturday. We are at the full moon in Sagittarius. You guys made it. This I'm calling totally righteous dude. And I got that from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where she's telling the principal, they think he's a totally righteous dude. I think that's so sweet and absolutely precious. So the 3rd of June, we have a full moon in Sagittarius. And I already said a lot about how, people are going to feel very convicted of their beliefs, whether they're self-limiting beliefs or they're projecting some belief onto somebody else, and they're, whatever it is, people are going to feel very righteous. People are going to be feeling very arguey. It's like people will be going to bats for it. It's going to form a T-square, this full moon, forming a T-square with the focal point being Saturn in Pisces. Now, it's just a little full moon. Guys, the rest of the year is easy. A lot easier than what we've already lived. So you made it. You're watching this video. You're alive. And you're going to do great. You're going to have a great rest of the year. There is eclipse season later in the fall, but that's not a big deal. So, I mean, not as big of a deal as like these ingresses that we had. This, what was it? You know what I'm talking about. So this T-square, we've got Sun, Moon, Saturn. Now, this is what I've been prepping you for with like the morality, because this pressure and stress, everyone's going to have to be showing up with their big boy and big girl pants on. The best that you can do is just show up as responsibly as possible, take care of business, be a little bit, I can't say corporate because it's not Saturn in Capricorn like we had. It's Saturn in Pisces, so it's a little bit more of like a calcification of our emotions that we're very uncomfortable with, and it could be feeling very unsettling. And like people could be very confused as to like, what is the right thing to do? What is the right thing? What is the morally correct decision? Or what is the best decision for me? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like all that kind of thing. So, I feel like we're going to feel really guilty if we don't feel like we're taking the right actions. Like we might have been doing something that didn't really sit right with us, but we didn't do anything about it because we didn't let ourselves think about it. But this full moon's going to make you think about it. There's a situation that is like, it brings it so close to your face that you cannot ignore it anymore. And you may feel like you've got to take action to make things right or to set things right. you know, or do just what feels right to you. And what you want to do is be the most mature, the most responsible, and you really want to have faith in your own skills, talents, and abilities. Sometimes that means paying someone $2,000 a month to do something that maybe you had your ex doing for free because they have a skill, they have a talent, they have an ability, but having that energy leak to your ex, you know, maybe that's not the best thing for you. And then something comes up with this full moon where you're like, you know what, I can't, I'm going to pay this, what are they called? I don't know, someone that helps with like web design and social media and stuff, like, you know, like, or whatever their skill or talent is. Okay, I'm gonna pay the $2,000 a month, and I'm just gonna, it's a clean break. I'm still gonna get everything that I was getting before. It's just gonna be so much of a cleaner energy exchange because it's not my ex. It's not my, I'm not having this ex, having to go to my ex and interact with them every time I need to update my website. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's just a random example, but it could just sort of reach some kind of breaking point this week if you've been engaging in something or taking a line of action that hadn't been sitting right with you, or it's been causing issues or troubles. And you'll have to look at where this is all kind of configured and where that Saturn is in your life. That's going to be this ongoing morality challenge for everybody. So, you know, that's why I'm saying like Saturn and Pisces is just, it's going to be, it could be confusing before it gets really clear, but you are going to feel the pressure pushing you a little bit this way and then a little bit that way and a little bit that way, and then you'll understand it in a couple of years. And we already, I forgot this Saturn salon for this past weekend. Guys, you are coming out of a weekend of the opening Sun Saturn square. So how did you do over the, this isn't Saturday already. How have you done over the past weekend, the Memorial Day weekend? That square was a challenge to something that you may have started Valentine's Day, or some issue or something that came up on Valentine's Day or around Valentine's Day. Maybe there was, you know, whatever, an argument or discussion or a challenge of some sort or a commitment of some kind or a promise around Valentine's Day. Over the Memorial Day weekend, there was a challenge to that. And you really had to rely on like excellent communication to work it all out. So how did you guys do? You were meant to push through and overcome it, whatever it was. So that's actually when I realized this past weekend, I remembered the Saturn Uranus squares, the 3 squares that we had in, what was that, 2021 going into 2022. Over the past weekend, I realized if I had done those Saturn Uranus squares better, I'd be in such a better position with a couple of different things in my life today. But like, you know, being in 2020, you know, sorry I didn't look years and years into the future to set myself up. You know what I'm saying? So like, be kind with yourself, whatever. But yeah, it seemed at that point that Saturn had all the power with Saturn in Aquarius. Yes, that's true. But this Uranus and Taurus is just so blowing up, and it's just a big deal. So anyway, that was over your weekend. We're still on Saturday. We're still at the full moon. There's a full moon every month. There's a new moon every month. So this is just this month's full moon where you're getting the results. You're getting your results, and just meet the challenges or meet whatever comes up with responsible maturity, and just do what feels right for you. There's no way I can tell every single person watching this exactly what that is. I will say err on the side of caution, because that Jupiter energy, it's ruled by Jupiter. This full moon's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter, like with the North Node, like that's a lot. So you've got to be get it in writing. Make sure you've seen the thing. Make sure you've talked to the people. Make sure that like with acting in film and stuff, there's this where you show that the money is in a separate account and that it is reserved for that actor should this thing go through. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so make sure like all of those things are taken care of, and that you are okay with like, that you're okay, that you feel very solid about it. It's not the time to be impetuous. It is not the time to be immature. Oh my God, that is going to really, you're going to get like an immediate karmic slap back. If anyone's trying to play victim, or if anyone's trying to get away with anything, or if anyone's trying to bend the truth or exaggerate or argue, I would not argue this weekend. I would not. I would just say, let's table it. Agree to disagree. We'll circle back later. In some instances, you cannot. It depends on how backed up the situation is, because it's going to come to a head. That's what full moons do. We need that pressure to bring it out so that we can deal with it, with whatever we've been pushing under the rug. The sun in Gemini is giving us new options. This is also where Mars retrograded from Halloween of 2022 to the beginning of January, I think 2020. That is what year we are in. And so, there may be, like I said, more options on the table, and especially with Venus about to do this 4-month retrograde in Leo. That's also, you guys, June monthlies are coming out. As you're watching this probably on YouTube, I spent extra long on our monthly astrological 𝚑𝚊𝚗𝚎 astrology journal, because I included the Venus retrograde 4-month journal, and it is so freaking epic. It's beautiful. I'm so proud of it. It is so absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, so yeah, hop on Patreon and get all the goodies there. So this, like I said, this full moon, the T-square, yes, Gemini, sun in Gemini, giving us more options, but the Venus retrograde is going to put more options on the table too. And then opposing the moon, having a very emotional response to our own truth, our own subjective truth, whatever that happens to be. Okay, so it's like there's the push and pull between when are we done taking in information to make a judgment, and when do we need to revisit a cast judgment because new information is coming to light that we really should consider. It all leads to the Saturn in Pisces, which is going to be a little bit like, well, you've got to cope with the reality. What is the reality showing you? What is this person really showing you right now? What is the situation? What is it? So that's why I'm saying I feel like we'll probably feel guilty if we don't feel like we're physically doing the right things. So there's that. Anything else I want to say about Saturday? Sunday, June the 4th. I am calling this day more jump scares. Okay, so we have, as you can see, we have the Mercury-Uranus conjunction in the sign of Taurus, and that's fun. It's plot twist energy. Plot twist. And there's still going to be more. There's still going to be, some cathartic conversations. Like I said, I would probably err on the side of caution. Don't be overconfident about it's easy for me to say that here, but you're going to be out there like living your life, and YouTube videos are going to be a mile away in your mind, and you're just going to have, your toxic mother-in-law right in front of you screaming at you, and you're going to, really be challenged, or you're going to have this whatever the thing is going to be right in front of you. So, the Mercury-Uranus is a plot twist. That's going to be something. We still have a trine to Pluto to get through, and it's a whole thing. So that's just going to be unpredictable. Uranus is the one element in astrology. Very, very, very unpredictable. Now, on Sunday, we also have that full moon in Sagittarius squaring over to Neptune in Pisces. This is so blown out of proportion. The lowest common denominator, again, people, there might even be something, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something on the world stage that happens that everyone just is so polarized and divisive about. Maybe it's another underground civilization that gets discovered and everyone fights over the relics or what to do about it. Or it's something with AI. Maybe it's something with food production. It could be something with, oh, what else is going, there's the WHO, the World Health Organization, and they're going to vote on this like global unification of what to do if there's a next pandemic. I wish I read some headlines before I filmed this. The last thing I saw on TikTok about it was that they're thinking about it, or they're talking about it, whatever. I can see something, people, with stuff happening there where people are just freaking out, everyone feeling extremely impassioned about their perspective and their position. So it could have to do with money, finances, banking, farm animals, cattle, seeds, earthy things, what am I trying to say? Earthquakes, like the earth actually moving around. And guys, I would suggest grabbing those headlines to know like what's going on, and maybe familiarizing yourself with some of this stuff, but be responsible. Take in information responsibly, take in news responsibly. What I mean by that is control your emotions, tell yourself what to do, and listen to yourself, and keep yourself in, like, check yourself. This is perfect week to say that, to check yourself with the Saturn full moon T-square. Really check yourself with what you're taking in. Take in information responsibly. Be a judicious weigher of everything. Manage your own emotions. Take responsibility for your feelings, and if you don't like the way a newscaster is delivering news, don't blame that newscaster. Turn it off. Put your focus somewhere else. Where you put your focus is where you are sending the energy. So like in quantum mechanics, all possibilities exist in the present moment. Only when we observe something does it collapse into physical reality. But most people's brains are like anticipating the future based on the past and not the present. And that makes sense. Like we have a record, and this is what we can expect. That makes sense. So then it requires training and practicing to find the present moment. Most people either don't know or don't believe that there's an energetic field around your body. Of course we do, but not everybody does. You have this energetic field around your body, your physical body. And so when you react to a headline, to a person in front of you, to a person on Zoom, whatever, to something or someone, you're actually drawing from your etheric field, your invisible field, and you're turning it into chemistry in your little brain. And then the field around your body sometimes like shrinks a little bit, and you're a little bit more matter and less energy. So we're talking about like collapsible, wave collapsing into particle. You're more particle and you're less wave. And then most people, when you're very dense and solid, that's what we call it, low vibrational, you're very more matter than frequency. You're trying to change matter with matter. That you're in that state when you're trying to force the outcome, you're trying to control the outcome, control other people, predict the outcome, predict what other people are going to do, set them up to do what you want them to do. Or you're feeling very competitive with somebody else, you're feeling jealous, you're feeling threatened. People will manipulate, they will cheat, they will lie, they will steal, they will discredit other people, they will, take an opportunity to put someone down, they will do all of that to get what they want, right? So, this is all South Node and Scorpio stuff too. Okay, but the quantum model, and this is all like the spirituality and the science that we're talking here. So, but in the quantum model of reality, when you are truly in the present moment, when you're just focusing on that present moment, when you open your heart and you can focus and take responsibility for your feelings, own your side of the street, and you can sustain an elevated emotion. And let's say you did that, but then you saw a headline, and it brought you back down to like, right? Sustain an elevated emotion, you will begin to broaden your magnetic field around you. I forgot the actual size, the number, but you broaden it, okay? Then you're more energy than matter. You're more wave than particle, okay? And then you can change reality. You have a better effect on reality. You can timeline jump faster and easier, and it's like amazing. I freaking promise you. So When you open your heart, when you're thinking thoughts, Joe Dispenza talks about this. When you open the heart, it's like you're dropping a pebble in the water, you produce a ripple. And when you drop a rock, you produce a bigger ripple. So if you can sustain that like state, that emotional state, you're dropping like these big rocks over and over again. And that's you broadcasting your signature into the field. The emotion, the feminine energy, is the magnetic charge. It draws into you. Your focused thought and how well you can focus, that is your masculine energy, and that is the information that is carried on the wave, on the frequency. When you combine that masculine thought and that feminine feeling, that sustained elevated emotion, when you're opening your heart up and you've got that clear mind, that clear thinking, clear thought with the elevated emotion, then you're producing an effect on matter and the world around you. We just had a practical magic class in May about alchemizing resistors, because you can do that consciously, but 90% of your mind is subconscious. So maybe you're doing all that consciously, but 90% of your energy says, that's not what we taught you. We taught you to stay a victim, to stay poor, to stay single and miserable and codependent and whatever, right? So we had a thing about alchemizing resistors. That's in the highest tier on Patreon for anyone interested. It comes with a PDF handout and exercises and all the things to be on the plan to really alchemize your resistors. And I recommend that for you if you've been trying to do all of this and not getting results. So if you're wondering why your manifestations are not working, how you're not timeline jumping, or, you know, whatever, it's the subconscious resistors, and we have a solution for that. So go ahead and check that out if you are so interested, because the thoughts that you're thinking are the electrical charge in the quantum field. The feelings that you are feeling, the feelings that you are emoting, that's the magnetic charge in the quantum field. How you think and how you feel are broadcasting the electromagnetic signature that influences every single atom in your life. The masculine thought sends the signal out, and then that magnetic heart, that open heart energy, pulls the event to you, pulls it back in. So this is a really long way of saying that, like, when you are feeling like a victim, or you're feeling codependent, or you're feeling negative, you're broadcasting that signature into the field, and you're creating more experiences to suffer. You're creating more of the same. You're creating more lack, more abandonment, more circular arguments, whatever it happens to be. So it takes, just know that it takes training, it takes practice for all of this. You know, it's taken me many years to get where I am now, and it'll take me many years more. Something I'm working on now is not scattering my energy, because I am always just so excited about, I'm so sensitive to stimulation that everything excites me so much that I just get all jazzed about things, and it's not really what I want. You know, so I'm trying to not be like that so much, but you know, we all have things to work on. So whatever, just don't feel discouraged. I want you to feel confident that you can do this, that you can be successful at this, and I want you to feel passionate and empowered about it, about energetic self-mastery. That's what I'm here to, that's my propaganda, is energetic self-mastery, creating your own heaven on earth, Camelot. Okay, that's my whole, like, I love that. If everyone did that, I feel like my experience as a human would be so much more interesting. I'd be so interested in like every single person's little world and all of it. Like, wow, you know what I'm saying? I just think it'd be a better world for everybody. So, you know, that's my perspective, the psychic perspective, the sensitive, energetically sensitive perspective. So this was all about going about the news headlines. So if anything does come up in the news this week, please keep that in mind, that where you put your focus is where you are sending your energy. And when it's in the past, when you're thinking about the past or feeling old feelings, you're sending your energy to the past. You're sucking out energy from the present moment. And what does that mean? It means you have no energy to create with. And you're not creating. And you're a creator. So, you know, I'm going to say, of course, meditation and practicing energetic self-mastery. I would say start as soon as possible. Soon as you can start, whenever and start wherever you are. If you're worried, like, where do I start? There's so much information. I'm seeing so many memes and all that. Where to start? Wherever you are. Just pick a spot, start there, and just keep going. And you'll find your own little way. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at your tarot. Take a look. Any tarot messages that want to come out for this week? What do we need to know for my people about this week ahead? So all in all, I like the week. Pretty chill in the beginning. The drama heightens from Wednesday, and then it really kind of crescendos over the weekend, like Saturday. But like I said, it's just a little itty bitty full moon. We get one every month. All right. Oh, first energy out, the Two of Cups, Eight of Wands, and the Devil. That's a toxic situation. That's codependency. Clear as day. That's like in the tarot definition of what does a codependent look like in the tarot. It's that, okay? And also like a situation between these two individuals. So if it's a, you know, co-worker thing, it's all very energized. You're really dealing with them this week. If it's a relationship, a romantic relationship, you're really like in it with each other this week. Next popper is complete opposite. Someone is totally on their own. They're very individual. Ooh. And Temperance. Glorious. Balance. Balance. Also chemistry. Also sobriety. Bottom of the deck. I'm just going to keep it to these three positions. I want to go out and play. Okay, Three of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Pentacles. So it looks like it's mostly about work and money. Work and money. You may be taking on too much, or there may be like a group situation where someone's taking on way more than everybody else and people have feelings about it, and it's just kind of a lot to carry. There's almost going to be some kind of release though, some release of burdens, responsibilities, or you're done. It could even be some kind of just like you're just done with the work, just done with the, you know, it's culminating. The big project, the big work, the big thing that you're doing is culminating. You're done with it. You're over it. I should have done that from the very beginning. Anyway. So it looks like there's going to be a healthy adjustment for you this week with Temperance and the Ten of Wands. It's like you give yourself a bit of a break here. Let's take a look. Tell us about the Devil. Eight of Wands, Two of Cups. Ooh, okay. Got, double Eight of Wands too. We have the World, the Four of Cups. No, Four of Pentacles, Eight of Wands, and the Six of Cups, and the King of, is that everything? Let's see. World, Four of Pentacles, Eight of Wands, Six of Cups. Yes, it is everything. And the King of Wands. She's showing me sort of this amalgamation of scenes with like a father and son. Oh, thank you. I'm like, can you just pick one? Remember Parenthood, that movie with Steve Martin? How he has this son, and I don't think I've seen that movie like as a grown-up. I only kind of remember it as a kid, and I just remember that he was really like emotional about stuff. Like I know he lost his retainer and he cried, and I remember like the adults kind of looking at him like there was something wrong with him. I don't remember if there was something wrong with him or if he was just like a very sensitive child, but it's kind of like this energy feels like you're the Steve Martin and you're like calming this boy down, and you're like, hey, it's okay, buddy. It'll be okay. You know, you can go do this on your own. You're going to be okay. But then like there's this son that's like, you know, like just tweaking out. Doesn't of course have to be that relationship. That's just what she's showing me. So that's what I'm getting with the Six of Cups and the Four of Pentacles. It's like someone's really afraid of change, maybe afraid to do something on their own, maybe afraid to end something, or afraid of this is maybe like a difficult conversation, or the way circumstances are changing. someone may be feeling like threatened by them, like their security is threatened. All right, let's take a look at the Nine of Pentacles. Ooh, you Page of Cups to clarify. That's really sweet. That's very, very, very sweet. This person over here, they may be kind of surprised of themselves having sort of like an emotional reaction to something. Like they may encounter something in their regular life that is sort of catching them off guard with how sweet it is, or how pure it is, or how innocent it is, or, you know, this is very vulnerable. Like someone here could be very like wearing their heart on their sleeves and very, but also like independent. Like this is not like, I'm going to bare my soul to you because I'm trying to latch onto you and create a codependency where I want you to take responsibility for my feelings and feeling like a victim and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not like that. This is more of just like a sincere openness where you don't feel that. Because you feel it, you know, you feel like when someone tells you something sad, how you feel like they expect you to give them something or say something to them or offer something to them. You kind of feel it, as opposed to different contexts when someone says something and you can feel that they have like a dignity or a self-respect or some kind of great boundary system in themselves where you don't feel like they expect anything of you, that they're just sharing with you to share, and there's no weird feeling associated with it. So I would pay attention to that for whoever that is. Last but not least, Temperance. Ooh. It almost but didn't, but this did, and it is the Hermit. Okay, very wise, very, let's see. Okay, so the bottom of this deck, we have the Fool, the Ten of Cups, and the Eight of Pentacles for anyone interested. This is really, like, some of you are going to take some risks this week, and it's going to pay off so big, so huge, and it's going to be like the best decision you ever made. And that's the thing, it's like it's going to be hard to tell you like which of you that's going to be, because everyone's going to be feeling so convicted. So everyone's got to be like, hey, you're on your own, kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you take responsibility for your actions and that kind of thing. So the Hermit to clarify, Temperance, you will be, whatever you got to do or change the situation or the conversation you've got to have, whatever it is, it's going to feel a relief. You're going to feel like this is balancing you, like you've balanced everything out, that everything is everything's settled, everything's equal, everything's even, and everything's balanced, and that will bring you inner peace and maybe even some wisdom. Like you may have some changed perspectives on stuff too, but that will also contribute to you feeling very, or someone here feeling very balanced. This is a wise person too. This is someone that's like, they've seen a thing or two, you know, this ain't their first rodeo. So okay, let's last but not least get your guidance from the Moonology. Tell us what they need to know, please. Please. Oh, thank you. Bottom of the deck, a time, that's funny, a time to give rather than take, new moon and Virgo energy. And the two poppers are believe in the impossible and work through your fears. So muy, muy interesante. I'm still learning Spanish. I don't know if that was right. You know, Spanish and French sound really, really similar to me. Like I was saying, c'est bien, c'est bien, c'est bien, but it's not. It's está bien, está bien, está bien. But to me, especially at the beginning, they sounded exactly the same. So anyway, work through your fears, believe in the impossible. Yeah, there's something like toxic or codependent over here. But if there's any card to get, the Temperance is the best with the Devil, because it's like healing that, you know, it's a soft dissolution where you're like free. I like believe in the impossible. I feel like that's going to be very specific to whatever that is for you. And a time to give rather than take, I feel like that's sending your energy to the right place or to the better place. You know, wherever you put your focus on, whatever you're thinking about, that's where you are sending the energy. So you don't want to be sending it into you don't want to be thinking about how someone makes you so mad, or how someone frustrates you, or how someone, you know what I'm saying? That's like, no. So I feel like a time to give rather than take means to give your energy to something that is just healthier for you, healthier for the whole situation. But there will be fears about it. You know, the fears of scarcity, fears of lack, fears of judgment, whatever. But if you're making decisions in fear-based energy, then you're trying to change matter with matter. And you're more particle than wave. And it's going to be painful. It's going to be really hard. And you might not get it. You might not get what you want. Okay? Or you might have a lot of potential unintended consequences with that. Okay. I love you guys. Take very good care. Until next time, my dearies, many, many, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful headstones.